नमः। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Reading from Canto 10, Chapter 13, verse 45. Tamyam tamovannaiharam kadyotarchirivahani mahati taramayaishyam nihantyatmani yunjataha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation: as the darkness of snow on a dark night and the light of a glowworm in the light of day have no value, the mystic power of an inferior person who tries to use it against a person of great power is unable to accomplish anything. Instead, the power of that inferior person is diminished. Purport: when one wants to supersede a superior power, one's own inferior power becomes ludicrous. Just as a glowworm in the daytime and snow at night have no value, Brahma's mystic power became worthless in the presence of Krishna. For greater mystic power condemns inferior mystic power. On a dark night, the darkness produced by snow has no meaning. The glowworm appears very important at night, but in the daytime, its glow has no value. Whatever little value it has is lost. Similarly, Brahma became insignificant in the presence of Krishna's mystic power. Krishna's Maya was not diminished in value, but Brahma's Maya was condemned. Therefore, one should not try to exhibit one's insignificant opulence before a greater power. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripri Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim Yatkrupatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarin Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya. So reading translation again. As the darkness of snow on a dark night and the light of a glowworm in the light of day have no value, the mystic power of an inferior person who tries to use it against a person of great power is unable to accomplish anything. Instead, the power of that inferior person is diminished. So continuing these verses on Brahma's using his mystic power to bewilder Krishna. We saw this beautiful verse yesterday. Evam sammohayan vishnum vimoham vishwamohanam swayaiva mayapi swayam yeva vimohita. So he got bewildered while trying to bewilder Krishna. So today in this verse, Shukadeva Goswami is explaining how Brahma's using the mystic power against Krishna, Brahma committed a blunder because he diminished his own, in the sense, his own fame, and also that's why it said in the purport Prabhupada is saying, but Brahma's Maya was condemned. He actually created a perplexed situation for himself. He just got bewildered by using mystic power against Krishna's mystic power. So the examples are very beautiful here. The darkness of a snow on a dark night. Tamyam tamavat naiharam. Tamyam means on a dark night. Tamavat means just as darkness. Naiharan, produced by snow. In the day, when there is sun, snow might feel like it's emitting so much light. It makes the place look much more bright, right? If the whole street is filled with snow on a sunny day, it feels it's like kind of more bright. However, snow on its own has nothing to reflect. So that's what happens when the night comes. Then even though there is snow, it's not going to produce any light. There is hardly any difference. Just because there is snow, it's not going to be like bright or anything, especially on a dark night. If there is moon, yeah, you will feel it's the snow is like kind of creating some more brightness. But when there is no moon, when there is no light, then the light that the snow nothing to emit actually. So all the light that the snow felt like it is exhibiting is all borrowed from the sun or the moon. So similarly, all power is derived from Krishna. Like Brahma's mystic power was also derived from Krishna. He is Yogeshwara. But forgetting that fact, he got bewildered. And the other example is, at least we may say, snow does not produce any light of its own. But that's why there is another example given. Oh, Brahma, we may think, oh, Brahma did exhibit some mystic power. Even though he derived from Krishna, it's not like the snow reflecting the sun's light. He personally exhibited some mystic power. That's why the other example is given. Kadyotsya archi iva ahani. Ahani is the daytime in the sunlight. Kadyota archi is the light of a glowworm. So the glowworm in the night does produce some light and it feels very attractive. So it does produce some light, but it becomes useless during the when there is sun, because the light is so low in value, so less in utility, that before the sun it cannot hold its importance that it signifies in the during nighttime. It just feels like, oh, it's of some kind of importance or significance. So similarly, Brahma might have thought that my mystic power has worked in so many other places. It works all. I created this secondary creation, and my mystic power can work in so many other places. So he got bewildered, thinking I have some significance. My mystic power can do something. So when he tried it before Krishna, who is Yogeshwar, who's the reservoir of all mystic powers, so then he loses the significance of his mystic power and rather gets condemned. So that's what here Shukadeva Goswami is trying to explain through these two examples of a snow in a dark night and glowworm during sunlight. So one is shown through the absence of power. Sometimes people feel like having power or abilities, but the source of that ability is taken away. Say, for example, I'm giving this class online. So I may think, oh, I'm speaking to so many people, but if there is no electricity, my laptop just shuts down. So then my ability to speak to all these people online is taken away. So the ability is coming from external, like the facility is coming from external resources. So when they are taken away, So then we won't be able to perform those. So that is shown by the absence of the sunlight. And in the presence of sunlight, then also it loses significance. One thing loses significance in the absence of the power. One thing loses significance in the presence of a higher power. So in this second example of glowworm, the higher power is there. So when there is, like, if say some senior devotee, like my spiritual master walks in, then I'll immediately feel, oh, I may think I have some knowledge to give and all those things. Immediately I'll feel, okay, here is a higher person who has better knowledge. So immediately that thought is taken away. So both ways, in the absence also we can feel, oh, they are not, nobody is there. So then you can feel like you're great. But you naturally feel somebody is superior to you is there. You naturally feel that humility. So both ways, in the presence of a greater power and in the absence of greater power, this kind of effect of pride can be taken away, or it can be experienced. So that's what here Shukadeva Goswami is explaining through this analogy. And here we see in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying how Brahma became insignificant in the presence of Krishna's mystic power. So Krishna has been exhibiting mystic power so many times during the pastimes in Vrindavan. And we see here Krishna is showing Brahmaji that how he has better mystic power. And all he did was he was trying to hide the boys, and he was trying to play around with Krishna. So many associates of Krishna also play around with him. But he does not feel like, let me show them who am I. Rather, he feels like subordinate to their desires. So in a previous class, Dayal Garanga Prabhu made a very nice point in their discussion, not this week, a few weeks before, how Krishna did not show his power before Yashoda when she was trying to chastise him. But when it was Brahma who stole the calves, immediately he understood this is Brahma's trick. So how this discussion was, Krishna is ye yathamam prapadyante. He reciprocates with the person according to their devotion. Because Mother Yashoda had that kind of an intense devotion, and she was completely unaware of the fact that here there is the Supreme Lord I'm trying to beat. There is no awareness, the complete absence of any awareness of Krishna's supremacy, and that intense absorption in that emotion. She displays that kind of an intense absorption that Krishna reciprocates by being equally absorbed in the role of being a submissive son who's fearful. Whereas here, Brahmaji is like trying to show his superiority, trying to show his greatness, and he's just trying to act impudent. So then Krishna says, okay, I'll show you. So you want to show your pride, your greatness. Let me show my greatness, and let's see who holds up. So, and that is why when Krishna shows it, and that's why the previous verse is so beautiful. Evam sammohen Vishnu. Means one who can perfectly bewilder anyone and everyone. That is Vishnu. Evam sammohen Vishnu. Means one who can perfectly bewilder anyone and everyone. And what is the extent of that? Krishna has created the external energy. Not even he has to personally do anything. His shadow, his external energy, bewilders unlimited number of living entities. Just by his external energy. And it's such a prison that people don't even realize that they are in the prison. Like we put people in this world in prison, they'll have that awareness, I'm in the prison. But here we are all in this prison of material world, and Krishna's external energy is so perfectly working, that Krishna's illusory potency is so strong that we don't even realize that we are in a jail. We are suffering here. We happily remain in the shackles. Like here, there is no shackles which is binding us, in the sense it's open. If the gates are open, if we want to get out, we can still manage. There is the holy name, there is the process of devotion service, but still we don't want to get out. We hold on to the shackles. The shackles are not binding us. We hold on to the shackles, and we happily remain in the prison. That is the effect of the illusory energy of Krishna. So, and here Ramaji is particularly exhibiting his pride. So we see like pride is usually connected with Means pride is a thing which is like very closely connected with envy also. So where there is pride, like pride comes before the fall, they say. And similarly here, Brahmaji is experiencing that. And also pride, very easily, the byproduct of pride is envy. And the byproduct of envy is anger. Like, so in this way, it just like goes on and on. So pride is also very deep rooted. And we see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, what is the counteraction for pride? That is humility. Because pride demands, but humility begs. So that is why we are supposed to, when we are chanting the holy name, we are supposed to be begging the holy name. We cannot just with our own ability to focus on the holy name, we can control the holy name or anything. It's a mood of begging the holy name that let me have service to Krishna. O Srimati Radharani, let me have service to Krishna. So that is the mood of begging the holy name that will help us chant the holy name actually. So that is why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's hallmark verse, Trinadapi, so even I forgot that. I'm not able to recollect. Thank you, Adipusho. Like Trinadapi Sunichena, Tharoriva Sahishruna, Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. So we are so and the attitude of a devotee is I'm fallen than a blade of grass. And one should be tolerant than a tree and not expect any prestige or any respect, rather be ready to offer respects to others. So in this consciousness, one can chant the holy name. Especially everything starts with humility, because a person who is not humble cannot be tolerant. A person who is tolerant cannot give respect to others, and cannot tolerate that, not expecting respect in return. So humility is the foundation of all these other qualities also. And why without being humble one cannot chant? Because when we pick up the mala, then we are thinking about everything, whoever disrespected us, whoever is better than us, whoever we are envious of, everything comes to the picture, and we are just continuously agitated by these emotions. When there is no humility, there is no ability to be present with the holy name. The mind is completely agitated, because one of the antidotes for mind is also satisfaction. One who is humble cannot be satisfied. So when the mind is satisfied, it's naturally peaceful. And in that environment of peaceful mind, then we can actually focus on the holy name. So here, Brahmaji is showing this pride, which is the opposite quality of humility. And we see how this pride, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taken sannyas and he's going on this tour to South India. He's traveling to various places, holy places in South India. And while going, he goes to this particular place called as Kurma Kshetra. So there he meets this Kurma Brahman, he gives him Krishna consciousness. And nearby, there is a leper who is suffering from the disease, leprosy. And his name is Vasudev. And he's a Brahmana, he's fully humble. He's so humble that as soon as he heard that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is around in this nearby town, and what he is doing, exhibiting these pastimes of Sankirtan and then giving mercy to people and showing ecstatic symptoms, hearing all this, he in his heart could understand, here is the Supreme Lord. So he was in such a physical condition that no one wants to come close to him, because his body was infected with leprosy. That means it oozes out like such substances that it's smelling bad, and then there's worm, and it's like completely deformed kind of a state physically also. Means it's so even difficult to describe it. There used to be worms in his body, and the wounds, but he was such a personality that he would think, this body does not belong to me. This is not just my property. This is Krishna's property. So who am I to think that this worm does not deserve to eat my flesh? Because this does not belong to me. This belongs to Krishna. So he will pick up that worm and then place it back in its body so that it can eat the flesh. And that is his consciousness, that he did not have any kind of proprietorship to this body. He thought this is Krishna's body. How can I deprive this soul of its food? And in this consciousness, he was continuously chanting. And when he heard that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was nearby, he could understand in his heart, because it was so humble. Krishna revealed himself in his heart and made him realize here is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he really wanted to go and take darshan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But because he was in such a physical condition and socially neglected and rejected, for him to make it was very difficult in his physical condition. There was no one to assist him to go there. Somehow or other, he was dragging himself to go and meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He did not think, I deserve to see Krishna. He thought there is no other way for my deliverance than to see Krishna. So there is a difference in this. So one person is thinking, I deserve to see Krishna. That is actually pride, because here one is demanding the darshan of Krishna, demanding the mercy of Krishna. But here Vasudev was so humble, he was thinking, I have no other hope than actually having darshan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Without his mercy, I'll not be delivered. So when we take shelter of the holy name, that is the attitude. Without the holy name, it's not that we are qualified to receive this mercy from our Guru and Srila Prabhupada and from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu and from Radha and Krishna, that we have this great ability to chant Hare Krishna. Rather, without the holy name, we have no other way to deliver us. Without Srila Prabhupada, without Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have no other way to deliver ourselves from this Kali Yuga. So with that humility, we are supposed to take shelter of Sri Nam Prabhu. And here, Vasudev was rushing with all his best ability to go and take darshan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when he finally reaches this place and he realizes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has actually left this village, left this town, and gone on to the next place. And in his physical condition, it is impossible for him to continue to go chase behind Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he had left before a while, so he does not know which direction he has gone and which village he has gone. So he just feels, my life is condemned. I have no hope now. What would become of me that now I have missed this great opportunity to have darshan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? That what will become of me? I have lost all hope. So he was feeling such intense hopelessness, that what will come. And in that, he was like, there is a difference between hopelessness and helplessness. So more than hopelessness, he was feeling that helplessness, like, how will I deliver myself without Krishna's mercy? So he was not thinking there is, like, I'm condemned in the sense of, okay, let me just commit suicide. Not that kind of a hopelessness. So there is, without Krishna, what is my hope? So let me somehow or other take shelter of. So he was continuing to chant the holy name. But he was finding himself like so useless that I missed this opportunity. So he was condemning him. At the same time, he was taking shelter of Krishna. So in that helplessness, when he was taking shelter of Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could realize in his heart, here is a very sincere soul who really wants my darshan. He is not demanding. He is actually pleading for mercy. So he took a turn and he went back to that village. So this only happens twice in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes back to a place that he already visited in order to show mercy to a devotee. So this is the first occurrence where he comes back to the same village and then gives mercy to Vasudev. So here, this leper was not even nobody touched him because his disease was so bad. Nobody even went close to him. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came all the way back and he actually embraces him. Vasudev could not actually believe that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is daring to embrace him. He says, there is no one other than the Supreme Lord who can actually do this. In my physical condition, no one will dare to embrace me. It's only you, you are non-different from the Supreme Lord, that you embraced me. And what happened when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced him? His body, which was ridden with leprosy, actually transformed into a golden complexion. It completely transformed into a very handsome, beautiful person with such a golden complexion, with perfectly formed limbs, with perfectly formed features. And his body was fragrant now by the touch of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we have seen this when Krishna touched the Putana's body. When her body was being burnt, it gave out fragrance of agru. Kubja, who was deformed, who was in 3 places, but when she offered chandan to Krishna and when Krishna embraced her, he straightened her and she became a beautiful damsel from being an ugly woman, a hunchback woman. So Lord Ram, when he touched Agalya, who is in the form of a stone, the stone transformed into Agalya. So in this way, Krishna's potency by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's touch, Vasudev the leper became like the beautiful golden effulgent personality who is fragrant now. So as soon as he got transformed, he's happy, but he's also very sad. Why? He is very fearful. Why? Because he was saying, earlier in my condition, there was no way I could feel proud. I was in such a destitute condition that I was naturally humble. But now you have transformed me. I can assume myself a great devotee. That Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally embraced me and gave me this mercy, how great I am. I might get this proud feeling, and then this pride can cause my fall down. So immediately he fears for this and he expresses it to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you have given me your mercy. I am not qualified for that. But you have given this to me. I'm very happy to receive the mercy, but I'm very fearful that I might be overcome by pride. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells him, don't worry, continue to chant the holy name and share this gift that I have given to you with others and serve the Vaishnavas. So he gives these 3 things. Namaruchi, Jivadaya and Vaishnava Seva. Do these 3 things. Serve the other Vaishnavas as a humble servant of their servant. And in that mood, chant the holy name and share this gift, because it is not your own glory or greatness of having this realization of Krishna consciousness. Share this with others, because not as someone who has more that you are trying to give to others, but a gift that we have received, even though we are unqualified, that we are trying to give to others, sharing this mercy of Krishna in this mood of humility. So he says, like, chant holy name here humbly and share this gift with others and serve the other Vaishnavas in the mood of a servant of the servant. So in this way, you will stay away from pride. So because you have to live in the association of devotees, and they'll take care of the pride part usually. Like one of my friends was like very intensely praying to the deities of Gaura, and he was praying for a while. And I remember I was sitting and chanting. I had dressed the deities and I was sitting outside on a chair and then sitting before the deities and chanting my rounds. Here this devotee comes and then he's praying for quite a while. And then other devotee comes from the behind and then he touches him and then says, "Oh, what are you, Prabhu, praying so intensely to Gaura?" So with all seriousness, this devotee turns and told his devotee, "I just was praying to Gaura that I'm so proud to make me humble." And this devotee, in a very without thinking twice, he just said, "Prabhu, why do you bother to pray this to Gaura? You just ask devotees, they'll humble you. You don't need to go all the way to Gaura. Just ask devotees, they'll humble you very easily. You don't need to pray to Gaura." Like he was just saying. So living and serving in the association of the devotees will naturally become humble. If not, we'll be put in place. We'll be shown who we are by other devotees. So it's whether if we are not humble, we will be humbled, like how here Brahmaji is being humble because he got proud, he got naturally humble. So Krishna does not tolerate pride in the heart of his devotees. He will immediately humble them. So he is the perfect master, does not tolerate any, he does not let his servants, just to keep more servants, he's not going to be, okay, whatever you do, let me just have more devotees, so I'll tolerate you. No, Krishna immediately purify to correct us, because he really wants us to be close to him. So he cannot be close to us. We cannot hold Krishna in our hearts if we have pride in our heart, because the heart is like a container. It can hold one thing. So it can either hold the anarthas like pride, envy, and all these things, or it can hold Krishna. So once we start chanting the holy name of Krishna, Krishna wants to enter from our tongue to our hearts through the ears. So the Krishna is not going to walk down through the tongue into our hearts. Rather, he enters through our ears into the heart. That is the way. So that's why attentive chanting. Because when we bring Krishna to our tongue, we need to take not just on our tongue, but also into our ears. Through that, he enters our heart. And Krishna wants to stay in the heart. And he sees there is no space because it's all filled with envy and lust and anger and pride and all these things. So he cleans himself. Krishna becomes the servant of the devotee by personally sweeping his heart. So he does that work. He's ready to do that. So when he sees after he cleans it up, we are filling it again with pride. Filling it again with dust. He does not tolerate. So he wants us to understand that this place is his temple. That this is his temple, and he does not want it to be filled with nasty things like pride. So he will make sure we are humble by arranging circumstances, especially when we live and serve in the association of devotees. He will make sure that our opinions are rejected, our our opinions are rejected, our services are rejected. Sometimes we don't have the opportunity to render any services. We may think, oh, I'm so great, I can do this and that. You may just not have the opportunity to render the service. You might find someone better to render that service than you do. And sometimes our physical abilities are taken away. Sometimes just we are physically hurt, we are physically sick. Sometimes we are mentally sick, most times, but sometimes we are physically also sick. So in this way, the opportunities, the identities that we think we are great because of these identities, all those identities might go away in time. So we may be so important. Just growing old makes us humble, actually. We just don't hold the same significance just we grow old, physically speaking, in terms of rendering certain services. And in this way, all the externals can be taken away from us. But when we are, but it's always nice to grow old, because we have the stability to chant Krishna's holy name. So I personally feel I want to grow old. Means with all the passion that comes with the age, we're just running around. Of course, it's in the service of Krishna. It's not that we're going to sit around lazy when we grow old, but there is this maturity and wisdom, hopefully, that comes with age, that we can sit and chant Krishna's name as the only shelter. In spite of doing all the services, like we're just hankering that when we can actually take shelter of Krishna's holy name as the only hope, only shelter, and not my own abilities, talents, and skills. So that is the hope, that one day we can chant holy name as the only shelter, beg the holy name for the service of Krishna in a humble mood. And whatever things that we can do as service to Krishna in a humble mood. So that's what we can learn from Brahmaji, that how before great mystic power, a small mystic power loses significance. Similarly, just having pride, thinking skills are great, and trying to utilize it in Krishna is not the right way. Rather, utilizing all our sense ability, all our abilities in Krishna service, because he is Hrishikena Sevanam. We are supposed to engage our senses in the master of all the senses, who is Hrishikesh. By engaging those in that way for his pleasure, when we do services, then we'll be able to give pleasure to Krishna, and we'll be able to receive the satisfaction in the heart of giving pleasure to Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. Adi Pushpa, you want to add something?
Hare Krishna, wonderful class. Just wonderful, perfect. You're talking about giving pleasure to Krishna. Somebody was saying in class recently that you're talking about Vasudeva wanting to go to see Lord Chaitanya out of humility and saying, this is my only hope. This is the way to... but somebody was saying recently that we come to the temple. I think it was Nanda Vihari. So we come to the temple to appear before the deity and say, I'm here for you, so that Krishna can look at us, but to please, as an whatever, mistakes I have, imperfections, please accept me. I offer myself to you as I am. And, not so much, I'm here to see Krishna so I can get benefit, but I'm here as an offering to the Lord. And I'm not sure, this is the same Vasudev who prayed, let me accept all the sinful reactions of all these people and let them go back to Godhead, right? Is that the same Vasudev?
He lives in Navadvip, Vrindavan. Sorry, Navadvip Mayapur.
But this is
the Vasudev the leper, that is Vasudev Datta.
Oh, right. Different Vasudev. But we're supposed to follow in the footsteps of these great souls and become like them in their attitude and their consciousness. And that whole idea of becoming a devotee so that I can get free from birth and death, so that I can make spiritual advancement, nothing wrong with that. But on the stage of wanting to please Krishna, like that was the last thing you said there, that whatever we do, if it's an offering to the Lord, and that's real advancement. Not, we were just reading that there's a difference between religious activities with the intention of my own protection, benefit, safety, and religious activities that are done in devotional service. It's an interesting concept because in this country, or in many stages of spiritual life, people actually think of religious activity for their purification and benefit rather than devotional service. And the Bhagavatam says, what's the use? Severe austerities, the power of speech, the power of controlling the senses, without devotional service, no matter how many verses we know, without the idea of like offering it to Krishna, then it's just less than the best standard. Anyway, I'll go to Prabhupada.
Yeah, Krishna. Anyone online has any comments or questions? I'm not following the chat so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Williamji. Go ahead.
Earlier in your in the class, it was mentioned about how we're prisoners, the mind. Can you expound on that again? You said we're in a prison.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we. Hare Krishna, thank you. Sorry, I got distracted by the chat comment in the chat. So, Williamji, you're saying like that. I was just saying how Krishna has created this material world like a prison, and we are just in the prison. But the illusory energy of Krishna is so powerful, does such a thorough job. Unless the devotee comes and tells, like, you are in prison, you are in Maya, you are in illusion. So it's like very difficult for the people who have been experiencing the lifetime after lifetime for millions and millions of lifetimes, engaging in the same energy, getting frustrated, but not able to realize that this whole illusory energy of the Lord is so powerful. It does not let us understand that we are suffering here, and just continuing to hunt after the material sense enjoyment. So in that sense, I was just saying that how the material world is like a prison where the illusory energy does not let us realize that we are in a prison.
Because it's interesting, just the other, thank you, Prabhuji, thank you. Just last month I was explaining to one of the devotees that when I suffer with my my major depression, it feels like I'm in a prison, like I'm in a cave, right? And then there's like this dragon in the front of the entrance, fiery dragon, saying you can't get out, you can't get out. And the dragon is basically my mind. So how can you? So being in a prison within a prison. So I'm just wow.
Thank you for making us realize this morning that how we are all in the prison. So yeah, we are supposed to take shelter of the devotees and continue to chant Hare Krishna. That's how we get out of the prison. Thank you, William Ji. Anybody else have any comments or questions?
I have a comment.
Yes, Prabhu.
Gaura Sharan Prabhu. So this morning something happened, something that I wanted to share. We did something not very intelligent in our attempt to serve Krishna. And one devotee picked up on that and reached out to our authorities and pointed out to that thing that was done by us unintelligently. And our heart was full of anger. Why did this devotee do that? He could have just told us. Why did he go to our authorities? They wanted us to get chastised by them. Why did they do it publicly? That was in our heart before class. And then Gaura Sharan started speaking and he brought up this wonderful point that devotees will naturally humble us. And then it occurred to us that this whole experience was brought into our life by Krishna to humble us. So wonderful. And all this anger, all this pride, they're gone, Gaura Sharan Prabhu. Thank you very much for bringing this point. It's Krishna miracle. You said what we needed to hear. It's wonderful. I'm so humble now. I'm the most humble on this call, I think.
I wish somebody will tell me when I feel the same way. That's why if I have done some service to you, so then my prayer is like, let there be someone to humble me also.
Yeah.
So,
next time I feel proud, I'll call you. Please humble me.
In Vrindavan,
Nanda Bihari, if you're so humble, why is your head so big on the screen?
I'm your big-headed servant.
So here
it's empty. It's empty. It's big, but it's empty. Don't worry.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else has any questions or comments? Otherwise, I have a small Vrindavan tidbit before we end the class. Yes, since I don't hear anything. Sorry, I'm like not able to see anything happen in the Zoom, so I'm assuming that there's one.
Tidbit, Prabhu.
Oh, okay. It's not a tidbit. It's just like that's how I wanted to put it. In Vrindavan also there is pride, but that pride is so connected to Krishna in his service. Like it said, Krishna's flute also feels very proud. So especially when Krishna is playing on the flute, the gopis become actually envious. They become very angry. And they think, what does she think of herself? She comes from such a lowly family. She's just born of a bamboo. And now just because she is just close to Krishna's lips, which is actually our property, actually she's stealing what belongs to us. And she's not even keeping quiet about it. Like making a big sound and telling everyone that I'm stealing Krishna's nectar, which belongs to the gopis. They're like, how dare this flutist? So she is so arrogant and proud. She first of all is a thief. And then she is like so impudent that she announces to the whole world that she is stealing our property. And then they think we should do something to this flute. We should steal it, break it with an iron bar and throw it away. That's what Radharani is thinking. And like, they're just so angry that she's just making us feel more jealous because like, it's like Krishna actually speaks into the flute in a language that the gopis can understand. I'm stealing your property. What can you do? Stop me if you can. And then the gopis are like really agitated. And then Krishna continues to speak into the flute. Oh, if you want the same, you should also be like me. I did so much tapasya. First of all, I gave up my family. Like I gave up my family of bamboo forest and separated myself here for serving Krishna. But you're all attached to your family. And then I went through tapasya. That green bamboo was dried into a dry bamboo. So I went through this tapasya. So you also should perform tapasya to achieve Krishna. And now I have this, because I performed all these tapasya and I gave up my family and just surrendered to Krishna. Now I'm in the lips of Krishna. I'm in the hands of Krishna. I'm sometimes even tucked into the waist of Krishna. I am so intimate. What do you guys like? But you cannot have those things. So Krishna speak this in the way of blowing the flute into the flute to tell the gopis, to kind of make them more like jealous, so that when they come, there will be more loving interactions with Krishna. So, and when Krishna leaves Vrindavan to Mathura, he keeps the flute with Mother Yashoda. Says, I'm just going to come back in few days. There is no question of taking the flute to Mathura for a fighting match or something like that. He says it's rasa, it does not match the mood. So he leaves the flute with Mother Yashoda and says, please make sure Radhika does not steal this flute, because she's very angry with the flute. She might steal and break it. Keep it very safely until I come back. Even when he sends Uddhava to send his message, he tells Mother Yashoda, please take care of my flute. I'm coming back soon, but please make sure my flute is not stolen by the gopis. So that's how. So there is pride in Vrindavan. Like the flute is showing her pride that I'm close to Krishna, and the gopis are thinking, how dare you, or so you can steal us. So they're showing jealousy and pride. So all these things that we want to keep away from our hearts, that's being fully displayed in Vrindavan. Go ahead. Displayed in Vrindavan, but that is for the sake of serving Krishna. So our prayer to Krishna is that all these things that we have in our hearts can be replaced by engaging in Krishna Katha and chanting Krishna's name and serving Krishna's devotees. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, by Nama Ruchi Jivadaya and Vaishnava Seva. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Gaura Sharan Prabhu ki jai.
What happened to this? Even this is not. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for participating in class this morning. Bhima Prabhu, are you still with us? You have your hand raised.
The only way that we change bow to the
Bhima Prabhu, Snow White Krishna, Sita's little Ram, can you hear me? All right. Okay, that's it then. Thank you very much. Sundarananda Prabhu, Rich Bhakti, Bruce, Yogeshwari, Suzanne, Sharmila, Pinkyo Gilparlan, Preeti Chaturvedi, Hemangi, and one other devotee who I can't see. Oh, brother. Something with my phone. Oh, Angel, yes. Okay. All right. Rich, what's your takeaway from this class?
My takeaway?
Yeah.
God bless Gaura Sharan. My God, so much garbage just swirling around in my head, like so much space junk. And then he just speaks up what he says and the way he says it. It's just like a ray of sunshine. God bless him. I'm so thankful for him. I needed that.
Yeah, me too. He said exactly what I needed to hear. It's a miracle. Bhima Prabhu, welcome back. Welcome back. So we heard some barking just before the curtains opened. Was Snow White Krishna trying to ask a question? Can you translate the question?
I was muted.
Yes,
I was not muted. You
Yeah, we thought it was conch shell blowing, but then we realized it was barking. What was that?
No. It was barking. It was me barking, Prabhu.
Oh, you were barking.
You know who I really am.
That's
who I really am, man. There was some girl dogs around. I started barking. Anyways, I can't believe you guys are still talking. I put the phone in my pocket. I thought it was all over with. This is wonderful.
You had your hand raised. You had your paw raised.
Oh, my paw. I was just going to say the flute is hollow, is empty. And actually everything that, and the flute is well aware that everything that she is, I think the flute is a he, is due to Krishna's breath, his pran, Krishna's divine prana. So I was going to say that one of the qualities of the flute that allows the flute to be so close to Krishna is his ultimate emptiness inside and allowing Krishna, as Prabhupada said, make me dance. So that was an important thing, that if we empty ourselves out of all these, I can't remember who was giving class the other day who said we have to surrender our perspective. One of the things that we renounce is our perspective, like how we're seeing things. So that's inside us, how we see things. What is our perspective? How are we seeing it? And we actually, when we step away from that and say, well, how are other people seeing this? How is the person who is approaching me now and correcting me, how are they seeing this? Not how am I seeing this? So Anyways, I'm rambling on. I have no dogs to bark with here.
Thank you, Bhima Prabhu.
Yeah,
Would
Hare
anyone
Krishna.
else like to share their takeaways, realizations, reflections? Sundarananda, yes.
Yeah, I just like to say, stay with this class, and you'll get enough realizations. First is, of course, a class, and then we get all these interesting tidbits, after the class. So it's a double bonus.
Double bonus, yes. Thank you, Sundarananda. Would anyone else like to share? Angel?
I had wanted to say that when I heard we are Krishna's, we are not ourselves, today it struck me very differently. And I remembered, my son is not mine, he is Krishna's. And it brought me I've been having some issues with him. It brought me a lot of calm of this isn't my motherly job. This is Krishna's job to do. I don't obviously own my child.
Nice, very profound. Yeah. Bhima Prabhu, you don't own your beard. It's Krishna's beard.
which is why it's gray. It's revealing how the true nature of this existence. I was just going to say about the teenage, the mother, Angel, and her son. Is your son a teenager, I would suspect?
Yes, he is.
The big thing here, as having a son myself, who was not much of a rebel, but at the same time, in understanding that your son is Krishna's, is patience. Have lots of patience through these years, and just hold tight and hold on, and show by example, and lots of patience. There's a Christian saying that patience is the sincerest form of prayer. So that's what I can give you there as far as raising a son is concerned. He's in Hollywood now, my son, and working for the studio. So I must have done something right, or maybe wrong. Anyways, once again, I'm rambling. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Your ramblings are always so wonderful to hear, as well as your barking. Thank you for your sweet words. This concept that we need to renounce our point of view is also very helpful with my son. He just approaches things very differently than I do. So I need to, back up and go, he's been given these thoughts by Krishna. So thank you for all of your ramblings and the sweetness of this class. Thank you for being here, all of these devotees, that I may hear sweet things.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Come back tomorrow. We're going to have a lot of transcendental fun. And there's nothing better than the association of the devotees. I feel protected. I can go into my day. I'm protected by Bhima Prabhu's barking. And God bless Gaura Sharan. Okay. Hare Krishna.